Welcome back to Mideast in Depth. Today we shall be looking at two articles focusing on the future of the Palestinian state. Peter Oborne asserts in the Daily Telegraph that we can be friends with Israel whilst also offering support to their neighbours ahead of Monday's House of Commons vote on the British recognition for the Palestinian state. He claims that William Hague's prediction has come true. This two-state solution, which has formed the basis of all efforts to build Middle East peace for the past half-century, is dying. But then he asks, what is the alternative? A one-state solution would embrace Gaza and the West Bank, meaning that the majority of the population would be Arab. This would place Israeli leaders who claim that their country is the only democracy in the Middle East in an agonizing situation. They could stay loyal to democracy, but only by giving away Israel's Jewish identity. Oborne questions this solution, stating it would lose all international legitimacy and could only be sustained domestically by the use of force. He writes that some 134 states already support Palestinian statehood and that Britain should too. David Cameron has been weak, mainly because on this, as every other matter, he is terrified of offending the United States. The Prime Minister is no longer acting in the national interest. The British used to be respected right across the Middle East, but our influence has faded and will soon vanish altogether if we continue timidly to do what the American and Israeli governments tell us. The writer, however, concludes on a positive note, stating that he senses change. A new generation of free-thinking Conservative MPs has entered the Commons. The Gazan atrocities, as well as Mr. Netanyahu's shameless disregard of international law over his settlement-building programme, has created a new mood. Next week, it is possible that the House of Commons can send a message to the world that Britain remains a steadfast supporter and true friend of Israel, while properly mindful of our duty to the dispossessed Palestinians as well. Jonathan S. Tobin writes in Commentary magazine that Israel has never been more isolated until now. Tobin begins by stating that although anti-Semitic demonstrations have ceased, diplomatic initiatives seeking to pressure Jerusalem to make concessions continue. He writes, rather than aiding the tiny minority of Israelis who oppose the war, criticism from abroad has seemingly only solidified a national consensus that opposes further territorial withdrawals under the current circumstances. He continues, Israel is more isolated than ever after Sweden announced that it would grant formal recognition to the Palestinian Authority as a state, while the European Union made it clear it planned to re-evaluate bilateral ties with Israel unless it stopped building beyond the 1967 lines and failed to make progress in negotiations with the Palestinians. He adds, Netanyahu represents what is now a centrist consensus about the prospects of peace with the Palestinians. While a majority of Israelis still favour a two-state solution in theory, and many would be happy to be rid of much of the West Bank, the Gaza war, they also recognise that in the absence of a sea of change in the political culture of the Palestinians, such moves are impossible. He claims, with the PA and its leader Mahmoud Abbas still unable and or unwilling to recognise the legitimacy of a Jewish state, no matter where its borders are drawn, few believe more talks will accomplish anything. Finally, he asserts Israelis don't want peace any less than Americans, but unlike some of their critics, they have been paying attention to what Palestinians say and do. American critics of Israeli democracy should pipe down. For more updates, please visit levant.tv. And subscribe to Mideast in Depth on iTunes. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.